Conference Steering Committee, including my Yellowstone counterparts, who will speak to you later. I have the honor of welcoming you to Grand Teton National Park, to historic Jackson Lake Lodge, and to this conference. We hope that many of you were able to participate in this afternoon's field trips. I heard they were a little bit brisk, but good. And we're very excited to host this event here in Grand Teton for the first time, I believe. We hope the weather clears enough that you can see the mountains if you haven't already during the hours of this afternoon when it presented a little bit of a view. This year's conference theme is, of course, building on the past, leading into the future, sustaining Greater Yellowstone into the coming century. And we hope that you will not just sit quietly and listen to the sessions, but actively engage in the sessions that are put forth for the next couple of days. The program's full of very interesting talks and posters, and we hope you take advantage and actively engage in all that interests you. I want to thank the many photographers who donated their images for us to use. We'll be having slideshows running in between different sessions, and images have been provided by Grand Teton researchers and staff and artists, and that'll be running in every different room used during the conference venue, so that's a special new thing this year. Special thanks to the conference committee for pulling this together. There's been a lot of work going on over the last 2 years, basically. And particularly, I want to call out Bianca Klein, Eric Oberg, Sarah Haas, and Sharissa Reed from Yellowstone National Park, and Holly McKinney from Grand Teton National Park for their many contributions and hard work to keep this all going and smoothly. And I want to give a special thanks to the next speaker, Harold Bergman, who has been the interim director of the University of Wyoming National Park Service Research Center here in Grand Teton National Park. He is a faculty member long-term from the University of Wyoming, so a significant partner for us here in the national parks, but also served as a member of the conference planning committee. He's provided lodging at a very inexpensive, to say cheap rate there, at the Research Center for some of the student participants this week. And he's retiring from the University of Wyoming at the end of this year, so we honor Harold for his long partnership and contributions to the ecosystems and wish him the best with the next phase of his life. And Harold, you are, as an honored emeritus professor, you can always come back for the occasional planning, venue, such as helping with the next biennial conference. So now, Harold, it's your turn to make a few remarks.
For all that, Susan. Sue is such a terrific person to work with, and we really appreciate in running the research station all of the help that she's provided all along the way. I'm here to tell you about important things. Logistics. Where are the bathrooms? The bathrooms are immediately to the right when you get out of this room, right next to the bar, and immediately to the left, down the hall, at this level, just before you get to the shops. And downstairs, as soon as you get to the bottom of the stairs, down in the main lobby, hard left and hard left brings you down the hallway to another set. And meeting rooms, the Wapiti room is down on the first floor, bottom of the stairs, turn left and left again, and U-turn down the hall and follow the signs to the Wapiti room. The Wrangler room is just at the top of the stairs, going down, turn left outside of the room here. Just before you get to the top of the stairs, turn left, and the Wrangler room is just down that hall. We are in the Explorer room. So those are the three venues for all of the talks. Our lunches, Wednesday and Thursday, and dinner on Wednesday evening are at the dining area right across from the Wapiti room down on the first floor. Easy to find. Remember to bring your cards if you want to eat food, your name tags, or your ticket. A special welcome to all 50 or so students who are staying at the research station at the A&K Ranch up the road. We're happy to have you. We'll expect quiet hours after 10 o'clock for all those people that are giving talks tomorrow. But almost everybody is driving, it turns out, to the research station. Those at the research station, please coordinate with others and carpool a bit. There are 3 or 4 people that don't have transport at all, so make sure that you pick up anybody thumbing a ride in the parking lot early in the morning tomorrow. The meeting is organized into 3 concurrent sessions, as you can see from the program book. We ask that the moderators keep things moving along with the proper timing for each talk so that people that are switching sessions can find the paper that they're looking for. Presenters also, a slight change from what's in the program book. Pay attention, please. Presenters, drop off your PowerPoint presentations at the registration desk every morning for the morning sessions between 7 and 7:45 in the morning. So please bring your PowerPoint presentations to the registration desk to be loaded before the session starts in the morning between 7 and 7:45 or at lunchtime for the afternoon sessions. Speakers and attendees both should recognize and note that all of the sessions will be videotaped and most will be made available on the public, to the public via the Yellowstone YouTube site. Please be sure to join us outside in the main lobby for the reception immediately following at 6:30, and then please return at 8 o'clock for our keynote address by noted author David Palmer. Now next, Jennifer Carpenter, the Chief of Yellowstone Center for Resources, will tell us what's going to happen next. Jennifer?
Thanks, Harold. My name is Jennifer Carpenter, and I'm the Chief for the Yellowstone Center for Resources. I have a very easy job tonight, and my job is to introduce 2 National Park Service superintendents, Mr. David Vela and Mr. Dan Wing. And I wanted to personally thank both of them, David and Dan, for continued support for the biennial conference. Without their continued support, our job would be a lot harder. So again, Mr. David Vela, Superintendent of Grand Teton National Park and the John D. Rockefeller Jr. Memorial Parkway, and Mr. Dan Wing, Superintendent of Yellowstone National Park. Thank you all for coming.
Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to Grand Teton National Park and the John D. Rockefeller Jr. Memorial Parkway. The greater Yellowstone ecosystem is proud to have a very long history of supporting science and furthering land management and resource protection, from research done in the early history of Yellowstone to the vibrant programs that exist today. And we want to keep it that way. Grand Teton is proud to host the oldest of only 8 university-run field stations in our national parks, according to a recent bioscience paper by Michael Stevens and Gina Gilson. University of Wyoming NPS Research Center is located on beautiful Jackson Lake, just a few miles from here. Field station dates to 1953 and has provided housing, small grants, funding, and logistical support for research done not only in Grand Teton National Park and the Parkway, which I have the honor of managing with an amazing staff, volunteer, concession community, and partners, but as well as for the surrounding national forest that surround Grand Teton National Park. As a result of the strong partnership and research program with the University of Wyoming and other academic and nonprofit partners, the greater Yellowstone ecosystem is well positioned to continue to develop and benefit from the work of current and next generation scientists. This is one of the conference themes. However, we need to do more and must better engage a diverse array of young people in scientific and educational activities in what we collectively do. And I look forward to hearing more ideas about these interests during this conference. The GYE has a robust program of coordinating across agency boundaries, especially through the Greater Yellowstone Coordinating Committee, of which I and my dear friend and colleague Superintendent Dan Wink, along with neighboring national forest and refuge managers belong. We've also been reaching out to state and local agencies and other interested parties to better strengthen and leverage our capacity in order to better understand and preserve this matchless ecosystem. Yet another conference theme. This conference, the 13th, in a series that typically is held in northern Yellowstone, enables the sharing of knowledge about new science and culturally relevant sites and stories. Yet another conference theme. As this is the first conference to be held in Grand Teton National Park, it is truly my honor to welcome you to the southern end of the ecosystem. It is my hope that you will make the most of listening and learning from the many speakers who represent a variety of disciplines, but also share your thoughts and ideas about how we can all work together to ensure that the long-term conservation, education, and appreciation of this greater Yellowstone ecosystem is sustained. In the end, my friends and colleagues, future generations will be the ultimate benefactors of your great work. Thank you.
If this keeps going, you guys are going to get to the reception and early tonight. I'll see if I can't do something about that. First, I'd like to thank Superintendent Bella and the Grand Teton staff for co-hosting this year's Biennial Science Conference. It is great to be in the southern end of the ecosystem. One of the worst things about being last in the podium is that the last person standing between you and the opening reception in the cash bar. But one of the best things is that I can shorten my remarks, but to quote Senator Udall, everything has been said, but just not everyone has said it. So I will be brief. This is the 13th time we've gathered to report and deliberate on scientific issues of our region. Those of you who have been involved from the beginning know how much these conferences have contributed, not just to our management dialogues, but also to the knowledge and wonder we can impart to the millions of people who care about the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. The proceedings of the first 12 conferences in this series amount to an encyclopedic resource for future visitors, managers, and researchers. And we are very proud of that. You are part of the most productive generation of researchers in Yellowstone's long and distinguished scientific history, and I thank you for all you have done to enrich the Yellowstone and the greater Yellowstone experience. This year's theme of building on the past, leading into the future, sustaining the GYE in the coming century is more relevant than perhaps any other time in our history. When asked the biggest challenges facing Yellowstone, always leading my list is transboundary wildlife issues. The issues highlighted in the National Geographic issue on the greater Yellowstone ecosystem this spring. Connecting protected areas and understanding mutual goals for wildlife management cannot be accomplished under one agency mission, but a goal that each agency mission must support to be successful. Many of you remember Bob Barbie, Superintendent of Yellowstone from 1983 to 1994. Bob passed away earlier this week. A great friend and mentor who always challenged me to do better and more for Yellowstone and the National Park Service. I'm going to miss him. He challenged me as recently as 2 weeks ago on the grizzly bear delisting issues. Bob was interviewed in 1994 for an issue of Yellowstone Science, right before his departure to Alaska as the regional director. And his response to the question of science is notoriously expensive, inefficient, and inconclusive. Where is the payoff for the manager? His response, that's where things become vague. Because at any given time, you get a lot of questions that aren't answered, and decisions still have to be made. Managers like answers, and science doesn't always give answers, especially right away. He goes on later in the interview to say, science doesn't give you answers, it gives you information. That's still relevant, or more relevant today. Recognition that while we live and work in the largest nearly intact ecosystem in the temperate zone in the world, it's not enough. We need to work across political, administrative, and jurisdictional boundaries to find solutions. Not just with other government entities, but with private landowners as well. And maybe we'll make a few mistakes or not get it right the first time. Our land conservation tradition is one of the best ideas of this country, and Yellowstone ecosystem has some of the best examples. Bison in Yellowstone, numbering less than 25 at the beginning of the last century, now number more than 5,000. And we need to find solutions for their continued health, working with federal agencies, states and tribes, and private landowners. Grizzly bears, that numbered less than 200 35 years ago, now being considered for delisting as a threatened species. How do we enact shared management of grizzly bears to assure the long-term health and survival? Plus recognize the value and importance that the grizzly bears have to over 2 million distinct visitors to the ecosystem. It has to be an ecosystem solution. I'm encouraged as I look around this room at the number of relative youth here tonight, and youth, for this conference. The greater Yellowstone ecosystem will the greater Yellowstone ecosystem serves as an important role in developing the next generation of scientists through research and citizen science opportunities. I, along with other federal managers in the ecosystem, have a responsibility to identify and preserve culturally relevant sites and stories, but also, how can these places continue to be utilized by Native American tribes to support their cultural heritage and traditions? I do look forward to the next few days. And finally, I am the last speaker between you and the opening session in Cashmore. Please be back in the room promptly at 8 o'clock for our keynote speaker, David Plum. Thank you.